Now, coming towards the different types of the neuroglial cells, they are the supporting cells of the nervous system. These neuroglial cells are present in the brain and also in the vertebral column. Suppose the neuroglial cells or the neuroglia of the central nervous system. The first is the astrocytes. They are star-shaped cells. Here you see in this diagram, this is the neuroglia cells which are known as astrocyte, right? And they have long cytoplasmic processes. So these are long cytoplasmic processes, right? So you see these are the long cytoplasmic processes that extend from the cell body, and they provide the supporting framework for the blood vessels and neurons. So they basically wrap around the blood vessels and the neurons and axons and then keep them in the fixed position and don't allow them to move freely. Right, so in turn they provide physical support to the nervous system, and also they regulate the chemical contents of the extracellular fluid where the specific concentration of potassium and sodium are present, and they also maintain the concentration of neurotransmitters at the time of the electrical conductivity. And finally, they are involved in the repair of the neuron cells by providing the specific nutrients. They release specific chemicals that promote the formation of the tight junctions between the endothelial cells of the capillaries, right? So what it does, these cytoplasmic processes, they release specific compounds and then wrap around the blood vessels. There you see this is a capillary in the microscopic diagram. So this capillary is of general body which does not have any covering around it, and it has openings which can allow the diffusion of the nutrients and waste materials in and out of the capillary freely. But when the capillaries are present in the brain, they are wrapped around these specific compounds and the layers of those cytoplasmic processes of astrocytes so that they guard these entries and allow only selective compounds to go through in, right, this way, right, and also to allow the specific compounds to leave the nervous system and come out into the blood. So these barriers are called blood-brain barriers. So blood-brain barrier protects neurons from toxic substances in the blood, allows the exchange of nutrients and waste products between the neurons and the blood, prevents fluctuation in the composition of the blood from affecting the functions of the brain, right, and retains the neurotransmitters and other chemicals within the nervous system and within the brain, and it regulates the nutrient supply. So in terms, astrocytes are one of very significant type of the neuroglial cells that provide support to the nervous system. The second is the oligodendrocytes. These are similar cells as that of the Schwann cells. These have cytoplasmic extensions that wrap around the axons and neurons to form the myelin sheet. Here you see there are 1, 2, 3 different axons which are wrapped around by the specific bluish sheet. This sheet is the cytoplasmic extensions of the specific cells called the oligodendrocyte. So they perform the insulation of the nervous system. Third one is the microglial cells or microglia. They are equivalent to macroglia or macrophages in the blood. So these are the immune cells present within the brain, and they fight any foreign pathogenic organisms that enter into the brain and helps in fighting against inflammation. Finally, in the central nervous system, there are ependymal cells, which are the layer of the cells which produce the specific fluid within the brain that is called cerebrospinal fluid, or CSF in short. Right? So this fluid provides the microenvironment for the normal functioning of the brain. The free surface of these cells have the long cilia-like processes that wave around and vibrate to keep the fluid moving within that brain cavities. Right, so that was all about the 4 different types of the microglial cells present in the central nervous system. And now we are going to discuss the functions of, before that, we go ahead, there are functions of the ependymal cells. They have mechanical and immunological support for the brain. provide bounciness for the protection of the brain cells, homeostasis to maintain the contents within the brain, and waste management. And finally, they help in the movement and control of the blood diffusion within the brain by increasing or decreasing the concentration of CSF within the brain cavities.